We're out here in the Carolinas on Muddy Creek. We've got all kinds of different equipment lined up. We're gonna show you how to gold pan. We're gonna show you how to sluice. We're gonna show you how to high bank. We're gonna show you how to dredge. We're gonna show you all kinds of ways of getting gold out here. Now this staple's made of metal, and I'm gonna move this staple down through this material to the bottom of the pan. And I'm gonna take everything else in this pan and I'm gonna wash it out. Nice piece of topaz. Yes, sluicing's really nice. You can hear somebody sneaking up on you. They're sneaking up trying to steal your gold from you. You can hear them coming. More material, more gold.
They were panning gold right here on this property 19 years before the California gold rush. I don't mean somewhere in the area, I mean here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah!
Yeah, buddy. Beautiful yellow gold.
This episode of Gold Fever is sponsored in part by Mine Lab, world's best metal detection technologies, and by Gold Prospectors Association of America. It's not about having the gold, it's about finding the gold.
Well, welcome to Gold Fever. I'm Tom Massie, and we're going to be showing you how to get that gold on today's show. We got a whole bunch of equipment lined up, and it's going to be really educational out here today. I'm going to start out with the gold pan, and then we're going to work our way up to a sluice box, and then we're going to work our way up to a high banker, then we're going to work our way up to a gold dredge, and then we're going to work our way into some special little tips and tricks later on in the show. And we're out here on Muddy Creek. This is a Lost Dutchman's Mining Association camp, so there's a lot of prospectors around here, a lot of prospecting knowledge in this area. This is a historical gold creek, and we'll start out with the gold pan, and the gold pan's your basic tool. This is your sampling tool where you start to look for gold, and then this is your finishing tool where you do your cleanup and you load all that gold inside the pan. Now, we made some improvements over the years from what the old timers had to the gold pan. We put these traps in here. A lot of times people call them Chinese traps because the Chinese miners developed that back in the California gold rush with hammering those into their old metal pans. But these pans, they work really good. They're super durable nowadays, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sample, because that's what I do with my gold pan. You cruise down the creek or you cruise out to any place, and the first thing you want to do is know if there's any gold in the area. So is there any gold in the area? Is there any gold in this creek? Or is there any black sand in this creek? And that's a heavier sand. So I'm just gonna dig off right off the surface here. And the material's kind of harder packed right here on the surface, and dig down and get me some material in my pan. Now, I'm not expecting to have no bonanza in here. This is just flow material, but it gives you an idea looking at what the material looks like. Now, I'm just gonna run that real quick off of there. Now, that's what I'm kind of looking for, is a little bit of that black sand. Now, I'll get it on down there to a not very much material so I can get a good look at it. And looky there, there's a little fleck of gold right there, right off the surface. So that's telling me there's gold in the area. And this black sand is a heavier iron sand, so gold likes to collect up in the same place as that heavier iron sand, because like I said before, it's heavy. And that's your basic tool, is using your gold pan to sample with. Now, I'm going to take you up to the panning tubs up here that they got, and I'm going to give you a in-depth instruction on how to use one of these gold pans. We made our way up here to the panning tub, and I've got some material here inside my pan, and I'm going to show you how to pan, but I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to take this staple right here, this old little staple. Now, this staple's made of metal, and you see that? And I'm going to set this right on top of the material. I'm going to drop it right there on the top. And I'm going to move this staple down through this material to the bottom of the pan. Now that's the trick, is getting it down to the bottom of the pan. And once I get it down on the bottom of the pan, then I'm going to use these traps that go all the way down inside the pan, and I'm going to trap that staple behind one of these riffles, and I'm going to take everything else in this pan, the lighter material, and I'm going to wash it out. And this little staple right here is going to be left inside the pan. So the first thing that you want to do is wet all your material. So you drop your pan down into the water. Now, you'll see that there's air in there. See the air bubbles start to come out? And you want to get your hand down in there and loosen up that material so it's all liquefied. You want it all liquefied, and that way it gives that little staple an easier chance of getting down there to the bottom. So once you loosen that up, then you start aerating that material. Now I'm moving all that material around in there, and that staple, it's lighter than gold, so any gold in here, it's going to be going down too. All the heavies are going to be going down as I'm doing this and trapping down on the bottom. So notice I'm loosening that material up. Now, I haven't screened any of this material, so I do have larger size rocks in there. If you're not too sure about your pan, you can screen it, and that adds to your recovery. So I'm going to get my hands in there, loosen up, find any clay balls, any of these larger size rocks. Ooh, look at that big piece of quartz. That's a good indicator for gold right there. I'm going to dig around any of the bigger size rocks. I can throw those out. Keep aerating that material. Now it's letting that little staple go all the way down to the bottom. Once I got it down here on the bottom, I pretty much got things whipped. Now a little bit sloughing off the side of my pan, and I'm not worried about that because the heavies are already starting to concentrate down on the bottom. This light stuff that's still up here on the top that's sloughing off, that's not gold. It's not heavy enough. A lot of times you can just rake those bigger size rocks right off of there. They're not gold, and just throw them right out of your pan. And keep moving on down. Now there's different techniques. Some people like to go side to side. Some people like to go forward. Some people do different methods, but the basic principle is aerating that material and liquefying it and getting that material loose so that it can go down to the bottom. You don't want to be too far under the water because then you can't see what you're doing. And once you come up here too far out of the water, see the material locks up and it doesn't really aerate, and that material, the heavy material, can't get through to get down to the bottom. So you want it semi-liquid right there in the middle. Your material is almost loose like water. Now I get it down here to the point where I like it, and I've got all my heavies on the bottom. Now I'm going to use these traps right in here, these riffles. And I'm going to trap the heavies right in behind this riffle. I want that focal point, that first riffle is where I want all my heavies. So I turn it around here, point it in the direction of my riffles, and I start slowly working my material off the top of those riffles. Now I'm letting the water do the work. I'm not bringing the material up here and dumping it out and pouring it out. Now I'm going to start moving some of those lighter off. Now see how the water's coming in and going out, washing some of these, pick these bigger rocks up. I'm letting the water action do it for me. I'm not pouring the material out. I'm letting the water wash the light stuff off. And I'm keeping the heavies inside the pan. Bring it back, loosen it up, keep moving forward. Now, a mistake a lot of people make is they stop with too much material in their pan and they start digging around in there looking for their gold or their treasure in there, and you've got still so much material, it's harder to see. I know if I got any gold, and that little staple is going to be right underneath this riffle, right down there in that focal point, and that's right where I want it. So I'm going to keep working it on down, keep re-stratifying, bring the material back, slowly letting the water wash the light stuff off. Nice and easy. Now I'm going to pull it back and do an inspection. Fan the material back. Now, here's that staple. And we did a good job of trapping it down on the bottom, and then underneath these riffles right here, your gold, we've got a little bit of gold here in the pan, and that's nice to see. Now, the thing about getting gold is you want to get more gold. Now, how do I get more gold? I got some gold in this pan. I can go up there and I can dig another pan full of material and get a little more gold. I can go up there and dig another pan full and another pan full, and I can get gold just panning. But that's harder work. There's ways of moving more material than just with your gold pan, and that's moving up the equipment chain. The next step up is the sluice boxes. So since we got color in here, that's where we're going to dig up there, and we're going to set up a sluice in the stream. I'm going to hook up with the caretaker here, John, and we're going to do some sluicing. We'll show you how that works. Now this is one of my favorite ways to prospect. Actually, prospecting anyway is my favorite way, but this is the sluice box. Now we've used the flow of the creek to do the work for us. And that way we can run a lot more material than we can just panning, because this is a constant flow running through here. Don't take no gasoline motor. It's pretty simple. The principle is the gold traps inside here and the light stuff washes on out with the water. And it's got this raised matting in here. That's your first stage, and it's got this area here where you drop your material in. Your gold settles out to the bottom, and then you've got some indoor-outdoor carpet that's got some riffles in that, and then you got some metal screen down here. And what the purpose of this is to get it so that your gold traps. Now you can see how this material's hanging in here behind this eddy that's right behind these riffles, and that's what you want to see. And you let the water wash the light stuff off, and your box is trapping your heavies in there. I like to just put some of the material inside the box, and if it blows on out of there, then you know you got too much water flow, or you got it too steep. Now see how those riffles are holding the material in behind them? That's what you want to see. And then you don't want to overfeed the box. If you just take this whole bucket and dump it in there at one time, it wouldn't trap the gold as well as just slowly feeding it in there. It gives it a chance to separate out and the lights to go on out and the heavies to stay inside your box. Yes, sluicing's really nice because it's nice and quiet. You can hear somebody sneaking up on you. If they're sneaking up trying to steal your gold from you, you can hear them coming pretty good. You got the sound of the water and the birds chirping, and it's real nice and peaceful. And you can get these into a lot of places that really haven't had too much prospecting done. And a sluice is great because they're not that expensive. You can get a lot of gold with them, and I can run a lot more material than I can panning. And you can find enough gold to pay for a sluice pretty doggone easy, especially with gold prices the way they are today. It's a lot of fun sluicing. Well, I'm about down to the end of this bucket. Ready for another one. I think I hear John coming down the creek. Hey, John.
Hey, Tom, here's another bucket.
John's the caretaker here. How many years you been prospecting, John?
Over 20.
Yeah?
It's been over 20.
Been at it a while.
Yep.
Found some gold?
A little bit in my day, yeah.
Yeah? First thing I said was, you're gonna be part of the show. You said, oh, you're gonna get me to do the digging, so you're keen to this.
That's all right, we'll dig for you.
Show us where you're digging up here.
Okay, come on.
Tell us some about this spot where you're digging here, John.
This pile here is material from our outings. When we dig for our outings, we dig extra material, throw it in a dump truck and bring it over here and dump it so they can do panning and sluicing with this pile.
Now, most of the gold that you get here isn't ½ inch or bigger, but by screening off the larger size rocks, it makes it easier for the finer pieces of gold, which is the majority of the gold around here, to get stuck inside of our sluice over there. So anytime that you classify your material, it makes it easier for whatever piece of equipment that you're running to save the gold. So classification is a good part of doing your mining.
There you can see the old decomposed bedrock right there.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite way of getting gold, John?
My favorite now is dredging. It's a whole lot easier.
You say now, what was your old favorite?
Well, I started out just like everybody else with a sluice box.
Uh-huh.
And it just took me time over the years, you know, a little more gold, a little more, progressively getting higher and higher. Yep.
All right, it's looking good.
All right.
Getting down to the last part of this bucket. And we're gonna do a cleanup. The last bit in there. And we'll just lift it up and out. and put all of our material inside a bucket. This sluice doesn't fit down inside of a bucket.
Doesn't, oh wow.
Is this one wider? Looks a little wider. Well, the important thing is to get all this material out of your sluice into your bucket. So we'll wash this baby off. And then we'll take this screen, lift the screen out, wash that off. Then we'll take this carpet and we'll put that down inside the bucket. And then we'll take and wash all this material on down inside the bucket. And then we'll be careful with this carpet and we'll wash that out inside of our bucket. It's a pretty simple process. It's just saving the material that you concentrated down. You gotta really...
It's real fine
that
gold
carpet.
here.
Now we've got all our material inside of our bucket, and we're gonna take and pan this material. Ooh. Get all that material inside of our pan. Now this is what they call concentrates. And it's material that's been concentrated down. So you want to be a little more careful with this material. So I'm going to use a safety pan here. I'm going to pan from one pan. Don't get away from me, pan. I'm going to pan from one pan into another pan. And that way if I lose anything, it'll go right into my second pan. Aerate the material. That way I don't have to worry about losing a thing. Look at all that black sand. And yep, there's the little specks of yellow gold. Right there, you can see the yellow stuff and that's gold. A little flake right there, all kinds of little fine gold. A little piece of, looks like almost wire gold right there. You ever see any wire gold come out of here, John?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's gold that really hasn't been crushed up that much. It hasn't traveled that much. It's still kind of in the matrix. So this, we've gotten some gold. We run some buckets through, and that's more gold than just out there panning. And we've concentrated this material down. From here, you move on up to running even more material. So that amount of material, if we ran more material, we could get more gold out of it. And by running more material, that's a high banker. And we're gonna go take a look at that next so we can run more material. Oh! Good, how about yourself? Well, these folks here are with the Florida chapter from Orlando, and they got a little outing going on here, and they're running some of what we call high bankers. Now we got a whole variety of different ones operating out here. You're washing the material here. As it gets washed, the fine gold particles get liberated, drop through the classifier, and down into a sluice. Now instead of having the river or water flowing straight from the river, we're pumping it out of this hole and recirculating it. So this is a sluice box similar to a sluice down in the river, but the tip here is you can set it next to your equipment and you can shovel right into it. You don't have to put it into a bucket. It already screens it for you, and you can run a whole lot more material, and running more material means we're getting more gold. Well, we've come over here to the high bankers, and it's a high banker is called a high banker because you're working bank material that's up high, and you can run a whole lot more material than you can with a sluice because you can shovel right into it. This is kind of a specialized piece of equipment you got here, huh, John?
Yes, it is.
You got a, this is set up to catch gemstones too.
Yes.
How does it catch gemstones?
Well, we throw the material in the same way we always do, except breaking out the back side of the high banker, we flip it up, and all the rocks fall on this plate. And then we get to peek through for gemstones and rake it off.
Now, how do you know what you're looking at when you look at a gemstone?
It takes a little bit of practice. Some are shiny, you know. It just takes a trained eye. My wife usually is out here with us, and she picks out the gemstones, but I'll do my best to keep an eye out for them.
And then inside here, underneath this gemstone catcher, you've got a nugget box that's got riffles in it. Now, these are what they call Hungarian riffles, and they create an eddy in behind that riffle. The gold comes along, and the gold's heavy, and it wants to go to the bottom. And once it comes over the top of this riffle, it gets stuck in behind this eddy. The light stuff gets washed on, picked up, and keeps washing on outside the box. It drops from here down into another set of riffles and raised metal down through there. So we're going to get fired up and start running this and running some material and see if we can get even more gold.
Sounds good. I'll go start it.
That's a lot of the same principles, and just like with the gold pan or the sluice, you're using the water action to loosen that material up, move it on down through here, and then the riffles are trapping your gold inside your box. Yeah, you can see you can run a whole lot more material with a rig like this. More material, a lot of times means more gold.
Vane Mountain has been producing some fine gemstones recently. It's always a good idea to keep an eye out for those rubies, emeralds, and topaz. And if you're looking for those sapphires and diamonds, they can be worth their weight in gold.
Quartz crystal?
Topaz.
Topaz.
That's the topaz. It's a little fractured. It's not gem quality. There might be a piece gem quality in there. But you see how rounded? It's like fractured. It's not shattered like quartz does.
Yeah, smooth and rather clear. You could probably tumble this and make it nice and pretty, or you could find a nice piece to cut a stone out of.
Yeah, your topaz gemstone rings, that's what it comes from.
Well, there you go.
Well, that's yours.
A nice piece.
Put that in the poke for later.
Well, we're gonna do a cleanup, but what you want to do is let some water roll through there without putting material in for a little while just before your cleanup. That lets the box kind of clear out all the light stuff that's in there, so you don't just have extra material to clean up. So that's always a good thing, just to let it run a little while before you shut it off. That's probably good, John. I don't know, I never cleaned one of these up before.
We'll start at the top and work down. Take the plate off first. As you can see, we got material. Just loosen these nuts here. Spin right around. There's a bunch of cons.
Am I gonna drop it and we're moving it over there?
Yeah, that's all right. Gotta throw some seed back once in a while.
Yeah. See, this is a rubber mat, and it's got these little slats in it, and the gold, it creates a little eddy in behind there, and the gold gets trapped in there, and the light stuff washes out. And then you have a this indoor-outdoor carpet. I'm gonna wash that stuff real good. And your heavier gold will work its way down in there and get stuck inside that woven material. Coming down.
Okay.
You good?
Looks good. Just slide it right up. That's what I'm amazed about this box. It really doesn't hold a lot, but it holds the gold.
See how that material just sticks in there. Boy, a lot of that mica can really throw you off, huh?
Mm-hmm. I get a lot of guys come up to the office and, oh, look at what I found. And you swirl it around in the pan and, you know, I hate it, but you got to break their bubble. You thought they had $1 million worth of gold and all it was mica.
Well, it wouldn't be worth so much if it was so easy to get. How's that looking, John?
Looks nice and clean.
Okay, now we got all our concentrates here in our tub. If you want to lift it up, I'll just pour it in there. The technique is not to spill any out over the sides and to get it all in the bucket.
See any in that last little bit?
Yeah, I
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I did.
It's the nice part about using those tubs because the gold settles down in the
Got
bottom.
out through the corner of the tub. I've been flashed. I've seen everything.
Yeah.
Well, this is our material here in our bucket. I think there's too much in there for one pan, but I'm gonna load this pan up anyways. Here we got our material in a pan and we got it inside of our tub. Now that's a load of material there. I'm gonna lose some out panning it, but I'm gonna give her a go here so we can take a look. Ooh, that's a heavy pan. Ooh, that's heavy. Now this is a lot of material that's concentrated down to just this amount. And it's all the heavy material that's concentrated down. And the gold being heavy is what we're looking for. Now I got all my material going into my tub, so I don't have to worry about losing any. And there's yellow chunks of gold. Yellow pieces. Now that's high banking. More material, more gold. From a high banker, you know, you can keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger pieces of equipment. But there's specialized pieces of equipment, and we're gonna look at some of those very unique, specialized pieces of equipment for getting gold. Well, we've come over here to Thermal City Gold Mine. John's got a honey hole here, and I don't know whose hole it is. I think
My
it's
honey hole.
Jim's hole in the summertime and John's in the wintertime.
I shoot him in the wintertime.
It takes off for Georgia, so I just sneak down here.
So what you got going on in this hole over here?
There was an old channel that was cut back late 50s to try to save a bank down here, and they hit bedrock and they couldn't get it deep enough to turn the river. So for 60 years, it's been dumping material in there.
Yeah. Sounds good.
It is. That's why I try to keep John out of it. That's why I got all the rocks up there. He can throw all the rocks this winter and I can get in and get the gold this spring.
All right, well, I'm gonna get down in there and throw some more rocks for you.
Have at it.
And we'll take a look. Appreciate you letting us in your hole. Well, we've come over here to John's 4-inch dredge, and they call it a 4-inch because of the size of the nozzle here. That's 4 inches across here, and that's the reason why it's a 4-inch. When you get a 5-inch or a 6-inch, it's the distance of the nozzle. And they're pretty simple pieces of equipment. You got this pump and motor, and what this does is this runs a impeller in here that sucks up water out here, and that water sucks up and runs through this impeller and creates a high pressured water shooting out of here into this hose. And that high pressure water coming out of this hose, coming into this jet right here, creates a suction out there on the end of the nozzle. And that could give you the ability to suck up material. As that material sucked up, it goes through the hose, up through this jet, and then is deposited here inside of our sluice box. And this sluice box is similar to the other sluice boxes that we've seen earlier. It's got the Hungarian riffles in there where you've got the eddy in behind there. It's got the classification for separating out the larger size rocks, and it makes it pretty simple for, you know, being down there. Ain't got no shovel work.
No shovel work, you're floating. Just all hardest part of dredging is moving those rocks.
Yeah, this is an environmentally sound way of getting gold. Coming in and dredging aerates that material. It's good for the fish habitat. The trout really like it because it puts food out there for them that they normally don't get. And it's, you know, you're not adding anything to the river. You're not taking anything out but just a little bit of yellow dirt. So this is a real environmentally sound way of getting gold. And you're being real specific too. You're not moving a tremendous amount of material to get a whole lot of gold.
It's important not to dilly-dally around when you're on the front end of the nozzle. It's always tempting to poke around and look for those pieces of gold. By all means, if you see a big nugget, pick it up. But you shouldn't be looking around for gold while you're down there. You should be concentrating on moving material through the hose. North Carolina tends to have a lot of clay material, and usually there isn't any gold in the clay. It lays mostly on top of the clay. It's also important to follow and clean out the cracks and crevices in the hard bedrock. Do a damn good job of cleaning them out, if you know what I mean. Especially the ones that run deep into little pockets where the gold likes to load up in.
Well, we've been dredging for at least 2 hours now here at Thermal City Gold Mine, and as you can see, Tom's still back there dredging. We just can't seem to get him out of the water. So he's having fun. Every once in a while, he'll stick his head up and give us a thumbs up.
There's a couple of little fish in there. There's one that's real friendly.
Yeah.
He keeps coming up next to my mask here and sticking his fish eye at me like, hello, hello, hello. It's kind of spooking me out.
Well, if you see a snake come down through, you send him to Gina.
Snake?
Snake!
What kind of snake?
Copperhead!
You didn't say nothing about no copperheads when I started into the water.
Well, we figured we'll let you get under first.
Ooh, that's some dredging. Ooh, that's a lot of fun.
There's some pretty nice color coming out of there.
Yeah. There's quartz stringers running through there. There's soft bedrock. There's hard bedrock. There's granite bedrock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh boy, that's beautiful down there. Oh. Woo. Man, that's a lot of fun. You get down there and see all the little fishies and all the different formations in the bedrock and the cracks and the crevices. Well, we'll drop it out and clean up. Cleaning up a dredge, same thing. You just dump your sluice out and see what we got. Well, I'm glad I didn't run into any water moccasins or copperheads down in there.
I was watching. So Tom, you want to do a little pan in there?
Yeah, let's take a quick,
All right.
what do they call
Quick
that?
peek on you.
Sneak peek.
A little high grading.
This is the front part of the box, so this is where you want your majority of your gold is right up here in the front.
Well, we'll slide that dredge out of the way for now. Let you pan that out and see what we got.
Oh, I see color. I see yellow. Nice black sand in there. Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Yeah, boy.
Yeah!
Can't tell the old this hasn't been dredged.
Yeah! Beautiful yellow gold all through there. And this is lead shot in here. We're cleaning up all the heavies out of there, and the gold's heavy, the lead's heavy, so we'll do Mother Nature a little favor there and clean up this lead up out of there. So that's one thing that dredging does, is it cleans up the rivers of the lead and the mercury. We're taking it back out of there, and we're also getting this yellow gold. That's nice.
I like that.
That's nice. The yellow stuff. Well, we'll take this and dump the rest of it out, and we'll clean it up.
We got a whole bunch more to pan too.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go down here to Thermal City and chat with the folks down there and show you a little bit around Thermal City.
There's definitely good gold here at the Thermal City mine. The property's been in the same family for over 4 generations, stretching all the way back to 1830s. Thermal City has been open to the public since 1992.
Hey, it's good to be out of the water. Owner of Thermal City, how you doing?
All right. Maybe a little bit of cloudy day, but a little rainy, but we're doing fine.
It's not bad, but this is really neat here. You can come here. You guys are open to the public. Been around a long time. Can you tell us some of the history of the area here in the gold?
Well, they started mining gold here in the 30s and 40s, and then 1830s and 40s.
Before the California gold rush, before out west was out west.
That's right. They were panning gold right here on this property 19 years before the California gold rush. I don't mean somewhere in the area, I mean here. Yeah, if people come and do what we tell them to do, and generally they find gold.
I sure appreciate what you do here, introducing people to prospecting and showing them what it's all about. You know, being part of history and finding gold now and learning the techniques and the tips of the trade. And this is a really nice camp that you got here, and great that you're introducing people and being a spokesperson for prospecting.
Well, I appreciate it, and we also have a wonderful clientele too. Yeah, the majority of the people that come here are LDMA GPA people.
All right, well, thanks for letting us come here and get some gold, and
It's been fun.
thanks for the dredging, and yeah, we'll be back.
All right.
North Carolina's history of gold stretches all the way back to the late 1700s. The Lost Dutchman's Mining Association camp there at Vane Mountain was one of those old mining camps back in the day. And the members at the camp nowadays are part of a new history of finding gold in North Carolina.
Well, we're about out out of time on today's show, folks, but I hope we educated you some on some of the different equipment. But I got one last piece of equipment I gotta show you and talk to you about, and that's this machine right here. This is a metal detector, and this is high-tech stuff. The old timers, they didn't have these pieces of equipment, and people are using these and finding gold too doggone easy nowadays. What they're finding is these remnant pieces of quartz, like this one right here that got gold stuck on them, that are traveling out there, and you could swing over the top of them with your metal detector and it sounds off, and you can find this type of gold. In and around these tailing piles, pieces of gold that got away in the old mine dumps and all over the place in the roads and places where there's gold left laying around and you can't see it, but you can pick it up with one of these metal detectors, and these are state-of-the-art. There's other pieces of cleanup equipment and stuff, and then there's lode mining and all kinds of stuff to learn about prospecting, and I'm still learning about different places and ways that gold traps itself and spots and locations. There's a variety of different things, and we're going to be bringing you some more information, some more of those tips and tricks that I've learned. But the good thing to do is join the GPAA. That's the Gold Prospectors Association. They have outings right here on this camp, and they've got a whole bunch of books about where you can go prospecting, like Thermal City and places where you could find gold, and information in their magazine. It's a good way to get started, a good way to learn. And if you're already into prospecting, I'll bet you there's some tips and some tricks in there. Becoming a member can really help you out. So I really recommend get started in prospecting. Check out the GPAA at their website. And we'll be back here again with some more shows teaching you the ins and outs of prospecting for gold, because you can find it. Only about 5% of the available gold out there has ever been found. That leaves 95% for you and me to find out there, and we're finding it all the time. And yeah, you can make a profit at it. So get out there and look for some of that gold when you're out there in the outdoors. And howdy, and I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you again here on another Gold Fever show. I'm going to swing my metal detector over here in these tailing piles, and maybe I'll find that 1 pound lump. So God bless you and take care, and we'll see you again. Take it on down so you can really see what's in there. And I didn't save the little staple. Well, there's yellow gold in there, but there's no staple. Now you pull your material back. Damn, did I lose I lost the staple again. That staple's hard to catch. And you do your inspection stage. Okay, don't judge me, I lost the staple.